Humans have always been eager to explore the world around them. This harmony has made him go beyond his land to discover a new world. In the past, and the explorers in the past world, such as trade, conquest of new lands, etc., they embarked on risky sea and land journeys. Christopher Columbus, a name that resonates through the annals of history like a maritime anthem, conjures images of adventure, exploration, and the audacious spirit of discovery. In the late 15th century, while Europe was still emerging from the shadows of the Middle Ages,
in the 15th century is an era with an unfounded reputation. Also called the Dark Ages or medieval times, most people associate this time with brutal cruelty, devastating wars, and great plagues. Worse, it's often considered as a time when society, academics, and the arts did a backward slide.
Columbus embarked on a voyage that would not only redefine the known world but also bridge continents, cultures, and centuries. With the wind at his back and the unknown beckoning, Columbus set sail on a quest that would forever alter the course of human history. His journey was marked by determination, ambition, and a dash of controversy, making him an enduring figure in the tapestry of exploration, one whose legacy continues to stir fascination and debate even today. Join us on a voyage into the life and times of the man who dared to dream beyond the horizon, Christopher Columbus.
Many people in the United States and Latin America have grown up celebrating the anniversary of Christopher Columbus's voyage. But was he an intrepid explorer who brought two worlds together? Or a ruthless exploiter who brought colonialism and slavery? And did he even discover America at all?
Before we dive into Christopher Columbus's journey, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Your support fuels our content. Ready? Let's go. Columbus was born in the Italian seaport of Genoa in 1451, to a family of wool weavers. He went to sea from an early age, and was an experienced sailor by his 20s. When he was still a teenager, he got a job on a merchant ship. He remained at sea until 1476, when pirates attacked his ship as it sailed north along the Portuguese coast. The boat sank, but the young Columbus floated to shore on a scrap of wood and made his way to Lisbon, where he eventually studied mathematics, astronomy, cartography, and navigation. He also began to hatch the plan that would change the world forever. At the end of the 15th century, it was extremely challenging to reach Asia from Europe by land due to the long and perilous route and the risk of encountering hostile armies. Portuguese explorers found an alternative by sailing south along the West African coast and around the Cape of Good Hope. Christopher Columbus proposed a novel idea of sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean instead of circumnavigating the vast African continent.
Was 14. At that time, Europeans traditionally traded with the Orient by going overland. Columbus wanted to try something different. Sailing west to reach the Orient was a dream of 15th century navigators, a dream that could bring fame and fortune. To take on this new adventure, Columbus knew he needed funding. It took him 6 long years to convince Spanish King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella to bankroll his venture. On August 3rd,
he believed this journey was feasible due to his mistaken belief in a smaller Earth circumference. Columbus presented his idea to officials in Portugal and England but faced rejection until 1492. In 1492, Columbus found support from the Spanish monarchs, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile. They shared his desire for fame, fortune, and the spread of Catholicism to new lands. Columbus' contract with the Spanish rulers offered him 10% of the discovered riches, a noble title, and the governorship of any newly encountered lands.
Christopher Columbus convinced the King of Spain to send him on a mission to find a better trade route to India, not by going east over land, but sailing west around the globe. Everyone said it was crazy because they still thought the world was flat, but he knew better. And when in 1492 he sailed the ocean blue.
On August 3, 1492, Christopher Columbus and his crew embarked on their journey from Spain aboard 3 ships: the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. On October 12, 1492, Columbus' expedition made landfall, not in the East Indies as intended, but on one of the Bahamian islands, likely San Salvador.
Venture. On August 3, 1492, Columbus left Spain with 87 men aboard 3 vessels, the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. 29 days later, on October 12th, Columbus made landfall in the Caribbean, on an island that is part of the Bahamas today. He called the island San Salvador. He began exploring the surrounding islands, including Cuba and Hispaniola.
Columbus mistakenly thought it was India, but much later Amerigo Vespucci announced that it was a new continent,
Asia. So it is Amerigo Vespucci that is generally given the credit for figuring out Columbus had found a whole new world and not India and China. In 1507, Martin Waldseemüller produced a world map on which he named the new continent America. But why America?
Columbus continued sailing from island to island in the Caribbean, searching for the promised riches such as pearls, precious stones, gold, silver, and spices, but found little. He left some of his men behind on Hispaniola.
Columbus returned to Spain in March 1493 with a ship filled with kidnapped natives, exotic plants, and a small amount of gold. He was hailed a hero, and a delighted Ferdinand and Isabella continued to bankroll Columbus's voyages.
In September 1493, Columbus returned to the Americas, finding the Hispaniola settlement destroyed. He left his brothers and enslaved indigenous people to rebuild. Columbus embarked on further voyages in search of gold and riches. He sent around 500 enslaved indigenous people to Queen Isabel in lieu of promised riches, but she returned the gift, objecting to their enslavement. In May 1498, Columbus sailed west across the Atlantic once again, visiting Trinidad and the South American mainland. Conditions in Hispaniola were dire, leading to revolt. Spanish authorities sent a new governor. Christopher Columbus was arrested and returned to Spain in chains due to mismanagement and brutality.
Standards. While governing Hispaniola, he tortured and mutilated natives who didn't bring him enough gold, and sold girls as young as 9 into sexual slavery. And he was brutal even to the other colonists he ruled, to the point that he was removed from power and thrown in jail.
In 1502, Columbus persuaded the Spanish crown to fund one last voyage. He reached Panama but had to abandon 2 ships due to damage from storms and hostile natives. The expedition yielded no riches. Stripped of his noble titles, Columbus returned to Spain, where he died in 1506, ending his remarkable but controversial life and voyages. Christopher Columbus was not the first to discover the Americas. Viking explorer Leif Erikson had sailed to Greenland and Newfoundland in the 11th century, preceding him.
There were already people living here for millennia, and he wasn't even the first European to visit. The Norse had settled Newfoundland almost 500 years before. Who cares what some Vikings did way back when? Those settlements didn't last, but Columbus's did. And the news he brought back to Europe spread far and wide, inspiring all the explorers and settlers who came after. Without him, none of us would be here today. And because of him, millions of Native Americans aren't here today.
Despite not being the first, Columbus's voyage had profound consequences, initiating centuries of exploration and exploitation in the Americas. Columbus's journey facilitated the Columbian exchange, which involved the exchange of people, animals, food, and diseases between the Old World and the Americas. Let's listen to a point in the next clip.
Columbus's voyage was an inspiration to struggling people all across Europe, symbolizing freedom and new beginnings. And his discovery gave our grandparents and great-grandparents the chance to come here and build better lives for their children. Don't we deserve a hero to remind everyone that our country was built on the struggles of immigrants?
If you enjoyed today's video and found it valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop us a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. Remember, we are all on this journey together, exploring, learning, and growing. Until next time, stay curious, stay driven, and let's keep unlocking those secrets of success together. Thank you for watching and take care.